John?
We're going to jump down to E. Steve, if you want to explain that real quick for a solicitor.
Yeah, as you know, we've been back and forth, and I sent out an email. Our solicitor, the previous solicitor, had resigned their post here at the borough. It was a very short resignation, so we kind of scrambled a bit, and we've had a relationship here at the borough with Mr. Jim McErlane of Lamb McErlane. I had lunch with him. We talked a little bit about what the borough needs on an interim basis and possibly a long-term basis. And tonight I would ask that you appoint Lamb McErlane as our borough solicitor at a minimum to fill out the remainder of this year. I talked to a few of you about, maybe going out to a bid, maybe not, but leaving that option and that door open for January if that's something you'd like to do.
I have a question. You met with Jim McErlane, he won't be our solicitor, so did you meet with the person that would?
I did. I met with two of them, and actually Jim he said he's in the bullpen for one Wednesday a month if we have that meeting. I met with a Mark Thompson, who would be our attorney. He is actually good on the first and third Wednesday. So Jim would fill in for the
And you have his resume here, so the two municipalities he represents?
I have it, but I don't have it. He represents Euclid. I don't have it with me. They represent Euclid. They represent Callan Sewer Authority. They represent Downingtown Area School District. Guy Donatello is their solicitor. So they're pretty well seated in the community, and they do actually take deals at our bond financing. They're a bond counsel. So, I mean, they're a pretty good all-around firm. There are some smaller firms that I thought about, but if you think about what we have to deal with for the end of the year with just projects we have now, I need someone that's pretty much a full-service firm.
So you're just asking for an interim approval right now? Nobody can RFQ it for,
Yes.
and they can apply?
Well, you can. I mean, you appoint the solicitor, the actual solicitor for the borough and the firm usually, because that needs to be of record. So any legal action against the borough, with the borough,
I understand.
their name. So I don't know if there's a difference to say interim or solicitor. I mean, there's no contract, there's professional services, so you can make that change anytime, whether it's...
So you're not asking for an interim appointment?
Just an appointment as borough solicitor. I mean, you can call it interim, you can call it what you want.
Do you need a person? Do you need a motion?
We can't appoint a permanent solicitor without, one, speaking to the person, and two, seeing at least the resume.
No, I'm just asking that question. What is the actual, is it a physical motion you're looking for today, or is this a consensus? What is the...
They have to be appointed, just as I am in January, just as if you had an engineering firm.
I asked.
Completely blind?
I asked what it is we can do. We can't do, because I asked the same question. We can't do any legal business unless the solicitor is appointed. Day to day, we have business come up all the time. Stuff with the chief, just a matter of getting even the next vehicle. Am I correct? We can't even get the vehicle that they're waiting for to get unless the solicitor signs off on it too. So we can do whatever we want, guys. We can send out RFPs. We can start looking right away. But we need a solicitor right now to conduct our business. And if you guys decide to keep them, not keep them, send them RFPs, whatever. So we need something to do our
Mr. President, I have a question first. You said you have a resume. Not here right now. Is it down in your office?
I got it off the website, yeah.
Because, I mean, I've actually heard very good things about Mark, but I would, similar to what the mayor said, we don't even appoint people to sit on our Parks and Rec Commission without seeing a resume or anything like that. So it's kind of hard to appoint a solicitor with, not seeing at least a resume. Even though I've heard recommendations, I'd still like to see who this person is.
And it's a firm more than just a firm.
Well, I understand that.
It's the whole firm. The firm is...
But similarly, we are going to hopefully get one person, because I know that was one of the issues before. You'd rather deal with one real representative. So if Mark is our more or less 80% guy, I would like to see a little bit about him.
We're assuming there's Vince Pompo, Guy Donatello, Mark Thompson, Jim McErlane. They're the group, and I'm trying to get them in here to do our legal business. I'm not exactly sure who will be, and if council decides that, hey, we like the firm, we want to stick with them long term, we'll iron those things out.
Sure.
But right now, I mean, I went on the website and I looked at all the resumes, and they're all you know, you go to any Westchester firm or any local firm, and they're all pretty much the
Well, they
same.
represent the school district, they represent, that's seriously, I've heard very good things about the firm and Mark specifically. Again, it's just, I wish we would have had something in front of us to look at
The situation demands it. And if we needed a solicitor tonight, we could have had an emergency executive session and met with the person and said, hey, pitch us on what you've done, and that is.
And I would, or if we knew we were at least interested in them, I would have liked to have a rep to have been here just to at least look at them and talk and ask them a couple questions.
One of the problems is this happened so fast.
I understand.
It's only been a week, and they had previous commitments. Jim had said, I would love to be there at the March of Dimes thing. So to get a representative, if you guys don't want to hire a solicitor tonight, that is perfectly fine with me, but the business of the borough comes to a grinding halt.
Well, I understand that we need one. I'm not by any means saying we don't need one. I'm not saying this isn't a good firm. I just think it's imprudent of us to make decisions without seeing, talking, or anything along those lines.
I would say that
And
this is clearly.
they seem reputable, and your research is valid.
My argument is that this is clearly a council decision. It's being recommended to council with absolutely no information about the firm or representative from the firm. If council has to make a decision, it's more or less blind. You're reading the name of the guy off a Post-it note.
It could be for a week, guys. We can come in and get somebody, we can bring names in. We gotta keep doing the business. The borough manager went out to try to help us to get over this. This is not a month, this is not 6 months. It can be next meeting, if you guys, after you meet them one time, say, hey, we don't want them anymore, we can direct Steve to do whatever we want. We're not locked in for a month or two, but we got to keep doing it.
I think it would be prudent of us to, if we had information in front of us, to make that we could make a decision that we appoint someone in the interim until the beginning of next year when we put out an RFQ. I think that's the most prudent way to go about it.
I'd be absolutely fine with appointing an actor. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I know. That's good. But in the interim, I think it's very hard for us to make a decision today without seeing anything. I would feel like I'm doing a disservice to the people I represent by not looking at who this firm is.
Did you look at it online?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either.
No, I absolutely haven't.
I mean,
I've heard
I think
recommendations
Steve is-
about them. I've heard they're very well respected in the community.
The borough manager came and said, hey, we got to conduct business. We got a firm, very reliable firm.
I understand that, but with all due respect, the borough manager is not
already.
elected by the people of the borough. I am, and partly. So I would like to represent my constituents. I'm not saying that we don't need to move forward with this, and I do think it's prudent to make an interim move until the beginning of next year. We have a meeting next week, right?
No.
Next week?
No.
Following week.
November. We can't go a couple weeks, guys, without soliciting.
Mr. President, can we,
I have questions.
Mr. President, can we appoint?
Do you want to adjourn to executive session and look at the thing? Do we do that? Or
No, I-
you
Can I ask you a
have
question, Mr.
papers
President?
here we can look at if you want.
I'm Mark Thompson.
Oh,
So if anyone
Mark,
has
there
any
you go.
questions.
You just showed up way earlier.
Interrupted. I didn't know how.
You just
this
say
was
15 minutes, Mark.
I apologize.
We waited for someone to get hurt.
I didn't know how.
Mark, you have any questions? Mark, come up a little bit.
Grab a seat and join us.
Could I ask some questions?
Mark just leaves.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Mark's like, I don't want this, and leaves.
I mean, no, if you have any questions.
I do.
You know, we did have lunch with Steve, and we indicated that someone would be here tonight. I know some other members of the firm, we were obligated to go to other places, but if you have any questions about the townships that we represent.
I didn't know it was.
You had lunch with him?
I wasn't trying to hide it back there, but.
How do we know if you don't recognize him in a
Tell us
crowd?
about yourself, it's better than a resume. Give us your resume.
Well, we represent 3 school districts, about 12 municipalities, 3 sewer authorities, the Chester County Solid Waste Authority. It's primarily 5 attorneys that are in the municipal group. Just like Steve said, and we have a deep bench, I guess, of people that we can draw on. We've got bond counsel. Guy Donatelli is primary for the school district. I represent the school district in tax assessment matters. I represent Euclid Township, Charlestown Township, Franklin Township, all of our townships before zoning hearing board. So, and it wouldn't just be me, phone calls can be made and questions can be asked and answered by multiple attorneys in the office, so.
Okay,
I have a
good. I'm
question.
finished. Okay. Tell us your firm, how long you guys been in business?
Well, the firm's been around since 1948. I've been there for 13 years. Jim McErlane still practices with the firm since 1970, and he's an invaluable resource, and we would appreciate the ability or the opportunity to help out the borough, given the fact that you guys are in a pinch, so to speak.
That's correct. We're going to start with questions. Amy, you want to go first?
Yeah, thank
Go
you.
right ahead.
First of all, what's the cost? Because isn't Lamb McErlane a pretty expensive firm? So what is the cost compared to what we paid with the prior
And we did, I
solicitor?
talked to Steve about that. Steve, we kind of went over the amount, and it's.
Yeah, I mean, we discussed the price is $200 an hour with Lamb McErlane.
What was
Significantly
it
more
previously?
It is and it isn't. With Andy's firm, I went over all the bills. Andy was billing out at about $150 an hour, but the original cost that he gave us for his lesser type legal staff had significantly risen. So like one of the people at the firm, when we got the cost, was $80 an hour, but she had been billing at $130. So when you put it all together in the washing machine, it is what it is. So I think we're probably paying that amount with Unruh, although they had a very different step process, depending on who you called, who they assigned to it. You know, it may have been cheaper, it may have been more. So for an interim basis, I didn't go price shopping. That's what you do with an RFQ. At this point, I was under the gun to get someone in to get our business done here. So, like I said, if you want to go out for an RFP or you
No,
want
I'm
to see
just asking
resumes,
questions.
It's an RFQ.
What other firms did you consult with? And was there any interest shown by other firms?
Well, believe it or not, since the email went out, we've gotten some resumes from firms out of town, actually not even in the county.
Okay.
So word spreads very quickly for some reason, I guess, when the attorney moves on.
So we did have other.
I did not, no.
You did not get any other resumes or interest from other
We
firms
talked
then?
a little bit about, we have an attorney on staff now that we use because of the conflicts of Unruh Turner, and his name is Tom Esty. He's a single attorney. We talked a little bit about it. He may or may not be able to help us, but in my opinion, if we're only doing this for 2 months, I didn't want to get resumes, PowerPoints, presentations for 2 months, when, you know, it may or may not be, and then this is something.
Although
we
it might
do.
not be 2 months, because council might not put out an RFQ.
Well,
They
in
might say-
November, if
but-
we want to do a presentation
So-
with the law firm, we could do that.
So why was Tom, so why did you not, since we already have.
I'll make that in my motion, we can put that in my motion.
Excuse me, since we already have Tom Esty, why did you decide not to go ahead and have him then as the interim for a couple months?
Well, he
until we
is
put
because,
out an RFQ?
see, it's a little more complex, and I didn't know we were going to get into this, but Bishop Shanahan is using Lamb McErlane as representation, so we need Tom Esty. Unruh Turner, Burke, and Freeze, when you talk about Carden Park or Eli Kahn and the development up on Woodbine Road, there were conflicts, so we always needed a backup attorney. When I went to Lamb McErlane, that was important to me that there weren't a lot of conflicts, so that was the #1 priority.
Well, if Guy Donatello, I'm not sure, if he is with Lamb McErlane and he is the attorney for the school board, then that would be a huge conflict. Then
not
anytime
necessarily,
anything
because
happened with the school.
Euclid Township is also in Downingtown School District, so obviously it's not, there's obviously an answer. That was going to be one of my questions, so I think that should be.
He's for the whole Downingtown area school district?
Well, Guy represents a school district, Euclid Township is in Downingtown School District, and they said they also represent.
Oh, right,
Euclid
okay, so you're
Township.
asking, is there a
It's obviously
conflict?
something that can be addressed. It was one of my questions.
When there's
Yeah.
a conflict with the school that has a land development issue, we find a way to deal with it. Obviously, we back away.
So anything with the school, then we would have to have different representation.
Well, if
The
there
borough
was
would
an
have to have.
issue that would actually cause a conflict, yeah, we would have to figure out which side, or just back away.
Just pick the winner.
But I'm not aware. Well,
Okay.
that all depends on the situation. I mean, I'm not suggesting that.
I guess something like a land development or something like that would.
We don't do much
would-
with the school. How often
I don't-
do we do stuff with the school?
We would have like this.
Is it a
down-
warrant or
It's very minimal,
Okay.
but.
Then my other, I find it interesting that you've gone to a firm that is Republican when the council is Democrat.
But that's-
Come on,
and
Ann,
so-
that's ridiculous.
But-
Excuse me, Mr.
That is
Mayor,
ridiculous to accuse somebody of that.
And-
Represent the
would you
school.
stop? I accuse no one of anything.
You
I
accuse people of
said
every meeting you accuse people of things.
Hold on, that's.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
don't even
Excuse me,
know
Mr.
Mr.
President, would you
Mayor.
please tell him to quit?
And cut it.
No more. Ann, please.
Me?
No, Ann, please, you have a question? You have a political
I'm
question?
asking you to please tell him to behave himself
Please behave
and act
yourself.
with
Are you
decorum.
bringing politics into why we're hiring? Is that what it is?
I
don't
am.
know.
We are a democratically controlled council now, and so typically,
I vote on issues. I don't vote
Typically,
by party.
you
Just
go
so
with-
you know that. I vote
It
by
was
issues, not by
merely
party.
a question
I don't
be-
bring that up. So,
well, I did, because
well,
it's a
maybe you
legitimate
vote that way, but I
question.
don't, and I don't know.
And can you please not make
Are you
politics
sure you
part of
wanna
your
do this?
decision-making?
Yeah,
That's my next question.
Can we move on to Nick, so we can get closer to me?
If I could just address the fee issue that was
Yes,
brought up.
that would
that's
be good.
a universal fee that we charge to our municipal clients for several years now. And, I mean, from large municipalities like for different township in the east to small rural townships like Franklin Township in the south and New Garden. If it becomes an issue, we work within budgets. Certainly, we can work with the client to try to address any issue if there's a shortfall and the fee becomes an issue. But none of our clients have addressed it as an issue.
Do you represent, sorry.
Yeah, and a lot of times, guys, money matters, but sometimes what you pay for it and what you get. You can pay $100 an hour and it takes 5, or you can pay $200 an hour and it takes an hour. So a lot of that, you have to look into that. We can judge, see how it's going. I mean, we're way over budget now. We're over budget for the year. We're done. We're spent on our, so we're paying less, and we're over budget now on the issues. So I mean, and we'll have time to look at that. We'll have time to do it. Maybe they'll come in. Maybe we'll talk price. They might not even be here after the RFP. So it's there's a lot.
RFQs.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, any more questions?
No, that was really it. I think that it seems to me reasonable to stay with Tom Esty unless there's really a reason not to, since he's a more reasonable price and he's already
He
here.
wasn't even sure he would take on the borough at this point as a single person, and he would need to get special counsel involved, so he would
As
need
an
to hire
interim.
someone else.
And I will state that I do take umbrage at the political shot, that you accused me, or came after me for saying something political. Lamb McErlane is a very political law firm, and that is well known. So I think it's perfectly appropriate that I brought that up. So I would really appreciate it if you showed a little bit more respect, sir.
All right, let's stay on the issue.
Maybe if you
I
stop
did.
attacking our employees and staff every single meeting.
Oh my
Usually
gosh.
for managers stuff every meeting, maybe I'll lay off a little bit.
Guy, and just for the record, I don't know what, if they're Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, go right ahead.
First, are you sure you want this? After just this little thing, are you sure? Get out now
Here's a
before
cash
we make
register.
anything. Yeah.
We met with Steve, and
Yeah.
we think we can help the manager out. So.
Ann did ask some of my questions, one in particular with the school district, and you've already addressed that, any conflicts that would be there. You listed off some of them. Did you have any boroughs that you represent at this time?
No, actually. No, we represented the New Morgan Borough, which is in Morgantown for many years. But that was actually probably the only client that we've lost in the last couple of years. But that was, other than that, all townships.
Okay. Is there any?
But I have the borough code. It's in my.
Well, and that's also.
so.
I know that. I mean, there's a difference between the township
There is,
codes and the borough
yes.
codes. What do you foresee as any issues, or I mean, it's a new challenge, but
Well,
I
it's
mean,
really,
coming in a crutch situation.
I view the differences between the boroughs and townships more of, from a procedural standpoint. I mean, you have a mayor, you've got a council with a certain number of people on it that creates a certain dynamic. But I mean, the issues are exactly the same. Most of our townships have police forces, public works departments, parks, public grounds. It's all. I mean, the issues are exactly the same. So I don't foresee much of a difference at all, other than, I mean, the borough has a different dynamic because you have a mayor and you've got the borough council, and that's about it.
And I will say, after everything else, you guys, your reputation is very well known, and yourself has been brought up. I've heard recommendations about you yourself. Do you plan on being the person primarily representing in this time period?
When someone needs to come to a meeting, it would be me.
Okay.
Jim McErlane would come to a meeting. If I couldn't make it, Vince Pompa would come to a meeting if I couldn't make it. I'm available on the first and fourth Wednesdays of the month. And I know that the schedule is as needed. If you had to have it on the third, I know that I don't think you had it on the one of them. You didn't have it. This is the fourth, so you missed the
We've
third.
been doing
so-
Yeah, we saw-
Yeah.
one during the summer, two, just at the end there when we get bogged down, sometimes we have a third. But we've been doing most of our business through two.
And my last question is, that's with physical representation, but when, I mean, a lot of the work is done outside of the meetings, you know, when you're working
Right.
on different ordinances or resolutions, would that primarily be you, or is that split through the firm? How do you guys operate?
I would help coordinate the work, making sure the work got done. Like I said, we have 25 attorneys.
Mhm.
So depending on the discipline, if it was a litigation or a land use matter, I work on a lot of land use issues. So if we have issues out on Woodline Road, would primarily be me. If there was a labor issue, we have in-house, we have some folks that specialize in labor counsel, so, you know, I would get them involved. But I would make sure that the work got done, working with Steve.
Okay, so Steve could basically use you as the main point of contact.
Right, and I think that's the way Steve is looking to have it. rather
Yeah, I
than
know he's
having
expressed
multiple
interest in
people,
that
yeah.
being something going forward. That was a little
Right.
bit of
You might need to wear a
confusion.
name tag, though.
That, I'm finished, Mr. President.
Thank you, Rick. Skip Josh for now. You already got half his, you have any questions? No, I'm going to come back. I'm sorry.
I don't. I'm in favor of, we're not getting married till, I mean,
Okay,
a
good.
couple months, let's keep things moving.
There you go. Alex?
When was, Steve, when did you make the decision to have this firm?
Well, I mean, I didn't make the decision. Obviously, I can't make the decision.
Well, when was it when did you want to join the council? March?
When did we have lunch?
Last week.
The end of last week?
But that was when we were just informed that I think your previous solicitor had
Yeah.
resigned.
And the reason I went to Lamb McErlane is we work with them on Minquist and Holly McGuire's. They represented Minquist. They did all of our bond financing. You know,
Yeah.
as far as whether they're Republican or Democrat, I had no concept of what that was, so it doesn't really matter to me, so.
Hey, just for the record, my wife's Republican and I'm Democrat, so I don't know. I can get along with anybody. Sometimes. It never faded.
But anyway, it was last week, and I said, you know, I talked to Jim after our lunch meeting, and I said, look, I don't want to spring this on council and make this decision rash. I mean, you know, they may want to go out for requests for qualifications, do interviews. I said, but right now we don't really have the time for that. So he said, that's fine. If you want us for a month, 2 months, I'm fine with that. So that's why I didn't do the whole presentation.
The only thing I would request is, well, hopefully we're not in this situation again, but if you knew a week ago this was the firm you wanted to represent the borough, it would have helped if you gave us the name. I just found it out today. And then that way it would have given me a week to at least Google the firm or call somebody that they already represent.
Wiki.
Well, I mean, again, you know, could it have been better? Yeah. Would I have liked to had Unruh Turner represent us to the end of the year and then put out an RFQ? Yeah, that would be the best thing, but when it was an abrupt separation, I had to act quickly because we had things to do. And I thought it was really a no-brainer for a temporary attorney to come in that's done work for the borough. In the past, I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
So it is 25%.
Excuse me, guys. I brainstormed with Steve. We were called off guard with it. I said, Steve, you got to do something. You got to get something together. And we need something by the meeting. You can do what you can do. So he went and started looking and looking. And what he did was went after a very reputable firm to see if they could handle our work so we wouldn't have all these roadblocks in the way until we do whatever we were going to do. So he did mention to me, I said, Steve, do what you got to do. We didn't have a list. Really, at first, we didn't know we needed somebody right away. So it was really, it was touch and go, and we didn't think anybody was going to come, and Mark showed up. So to give you an idea, that's how loosey-goosey it's been kind of going. Nothing has been made. Nobody's working for us yet. It's up to you guys today.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a
Well,
motion.
can I ask one more question of Steve? So you just went to Lamb McErlane. I mean, you didn't really go ask other people because you just knew that their reputation, and that's really who you wanted to
Pretty
target?
much it, yeah.
And you didn't look to others for now?
We talked to two attorneys that we had dealt with before.
Who would that be?
Tom Esty.
Oh, Tom Esty.
Esty did work for us before,
Uh-huh.
and they were just two real quick ones without getting an RFP and doing everything. Steve nonchalantly did it, that was that. Nick, you have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve on an interim basis from now until the end of the year, Lamb McErlane as the borough solicitor, to be reviewed after the first meeting of next year for putting out an RFQ.
You don't have to put all that reviews, we can review it ahead of time if you want. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Yeah, we can review it at any time.
Start the RFQ now.
Start the process of it.
Yeah.
Now,
that's
not.
So you
Okay,
have to
right,
make
right.
a
I'll
motion now.
amend it with, that we start the RFQ process now.
Good, all right.
Mhm.
Second?
Second.
Okay, questions again?
Okay, so it's interim, we're going to put out an RFQ
Yes.
now.
And thanks for showing up and standing up.
Okay, all in favor?
Okay. Yeah.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, we
Sorry I
appreciate
missed you
it.
there.
No, no, it's fine, thank you.
Yeah, we
Looking at
didn't-
this gentleman, I'm like, he may be from the firm, but I'm not
I actually
sure.
thought you were in Shanahan. So, I got my eyes on you now.
We were listening to what you guys are having to say.
Maybe he didn't want to introduce himself.
At least after all our eating, get up to the rock. All
Wait,
right,
so
all right, you guys.
you should just come up here right now then and start working. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Thank you very much, thank you, guys.
Thank you.